Most I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai Bashem Rakak Radash, and double honors to the elder apostles of the great millstone that have taught us this truth, and the elder bishops on down. And Yahweh Bashim Yahushai Brakatham to you brothers out there. And once again, it's your brother Laban. And I want to talk about this crypto financial, this digital financial technology that DJ Trump is working on, right along with his technocrats is working with him, and the main guy being Elon Musk, and among many. So as this reads over here, the American story is one of innovation from the railroad that linked sea to shining sea to the internet that connected the entire world. American entrepreneurs have led the build out of next generation technologies in every generation since our founding. Crypto should be no different, and the working group, as the author of this report, endorses the notion that digital assets and blockchain technologies can revolutionize not just America's financial system, but systems of ownership and governance economy-wide. American entrepreneurs who pioneer new industries using these technologies deserve both clarity on the policies that affect their efforts and praise for the progress they have made. And of course, this is something that has already been in the books already, way before this time even came. You know, we could talk about the times of since the 1970s and probably prior before then, because and I mentioned the 1970s because this guy, Zbigniew Brzezinski, he wrote a book called Between the Two Ages, America's Role in the Technotronic Era. And people have read this book, and you got silly people that have said that, oh yeah, he's predicted this. And as I'm going to read over here, right? Brzezinski is accurately predicting 21st century events in this book published in 1970. He's not predicting anything. He's an insider. They give these higher ups inside information, and then they put it in the book. And who's going to read this kind of book? Those that are going to be in the inside. So when they read this book, they know exactly how to formulate the world in time. All right. So ain't nobody predicting anything. They knew about this. Someone higher than them told them, look, this is what we're going to do in the year this and the year that. And now we're in that time. We're 55 years forward into a world that's being transformed to a digital setting. Okay, because of that book and many other books. All right, you have many other books that deals with this new world order setup that they're formulating by different people, not just Zbigniew Brzezinski. I mean, you got people like Klaus Schwab and all of these cats, man. They were all in the same room together, probably, man, back in those days and times, discussing how they were going to formulate the world. All right, so what I want to do is I want to show you, brothers and sisters, something which, again, this is just more news on the mark of the beast. Why the mark of the beast is going to be had. All right, as we're going to keep telling you about, which is the most important prophecy that we should tell you about, because it's the last prophecy, which is going to lead to open doors to the end time prophecies, like the incoming of the Lord. Let me back up a bit. Jacob's trouble, and then the incoming of the Lord, and then the third wall. All right, so without further ado, let's play this video over here.
Numbers. Take Tether USDT, the largest dollar stablecoin issuer by market cap. They have over 80% of their $161 billion worth of reserves in U.S. Treasuries. That means that we're looking at $131 billion that this private company, Tether, owns of U.S. debt. To put that into perspective, that's more than Germany, the UAE, Saudi Arabia. But that's just one issuer. Tether isn't the only one. And when we look at estimates of demand for stablecoins potentially quadrupling over the next few years, we have a situation where we could see private issuers become the single largest holders of U.S. debt.
Absolutely.
That's a concentration of power that no one voted for. Think about it. The U.S., the world's largest economy and military superpower, becoming increasingly reliant on a handful of unregulated, profit-driven tech companies. That's not just morally questionable, that's dangerous for all of us. What happens if the U.S. has to appease these issuers? That doesn't sound like sovereignty to me. What do you think?
Because it never was about sovereignty. It was all about them owning all manner of assets, including owning you. That's been the goal. All right. Now, they told us that we're a democratic society and all of these lies to make us feel comfortable in believing that there's a form of power that we have as a people. But we really didn't have no power all along. It was just an illusion of power. That's all.
The entire U.S. financial system was reliant.
And really, there ain't no sovereign nations because all of these nations subscribe to the banking dynasty. You have the central banks that control the world. You have hundreds, if not probably thousands of banks all around the world controlling various governments around the world. So ain't nobody sovereign.
On a couple of private companies to keep the lights on, companies that no one voted for, that we have no oversight or regulation over. Do you think that this is a serious concern? Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear from you.
Yeah, and also too, that's gonna tie in. Let me see what else she's gonna say. Salaki about that.
More, what would happen if one of these companies went under, or there was a loss of confidence in stable coins themselves? That would shake the entire treasury market, shattering the illusion of stability that they love to create, which would, of course, lead to a collapse of faith in the dollar itself. Yields would spike, bond prices would tank, and the Fed would be forced to intervene, printing more money, which of course would lead to inflation and eventually hyperinflation, leaving you and I with next to nothing.
Yeah, and so that's going to pave the way for you to go and trust on this this next way of doing transaction, because the deal is to crash the dollar and to crash the system at the same time. And if they can do these two things, if they can crash the system and then crash the dollar, then they can bring in the new way, which is going to be technocratic, the new world order. All right, that's the whole goal. Very simple. And so that's going to pave the way for the mark of the you know what. Well, I could just plainly say it, the mark of the beast, because I've been saying it in my videos and been taken down, so I can say it now. Yeah, that's going to pave the way for the mark of the beast. All right, and that's going to be made mandatory, and that's what's going to be had all around, but primarily beginning with major countries first, and then, you know, that trend is going to go around the planet Earth. Okay, so this is another way on how they're gonna bring that causation is, again, once they yeah, you know, once the stable coins. Let me go back to what she was saying. I forgot. Let's go back and play that again, because she made a key point.
Shattering the illusion on a couple of private companies to keep the lights on, companies that no one voted for, that we have no oversight or regulation over. Do you think that this is a serious concern? Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear from you. Because what's more, what would happen if one of these companies went under, or there was a loss of confidence in stable coins themselves? That would shake the entire treasury market, shattering the illusion of stability that they love to create, which would, of course, lead to a collapse of faith in the dollar itself.
Right, which is exactly what they want. They want you to lose faith in the dollar. And this is the reason why you had these nations like BRICS that came together and left the dollar. Why did they leave the dollar? Because it was an all-inside purpose to destroy the dollar to nothing, so that, again, this stable coin, which is a CBDC, because the world is going to go based on CBDCs anyway. All right, so let's begin with America, and let's get America on that program while we're at it.
Bond prices would tank, and the Fed would be forced to intervene, printing more money, which of course would lead to inflation and eventually hyperinflation, leaving you and I with next to nothing. Now, Tether claims its model is safe because USDT is held across millions of users, but that doesn't eliminate systemic risk when it's a private company. One black swan event, one scandal, one disaster, and we've got a real problem. But this isn't just about systemic risk. This is about real risk to you. About 6 months ago, I made a video.
Yeah, so that's all there is to it. Yeah. So she's basically breaking it down, and that's why she's basically gonna say what I've said in her way. So yeah, that's just the thing. Like, crash the dollar, people lose faith in the American dollar, and so therefore they have to graduate. There's no choice. They have to graduate to the CBDC system, which stablecoin is just another, another CBDC setup, just under a different name, to make it look like, oh wow, America's doing something better. It's revolutionary. That's the key word that they use. Which, when you hear that word revolutionary, Americans think about the Revolutionary War that they, overcame under the British, and they got their independence. So that right there is supposed to get the American people behind this idea. But let's just say they're not going with this idea. Guess what? They're going to make things so worse for the dollar that people are using, as she explained, and it's going to force people to get on this trend, man. And that's the part of the causation of how this man's going to do it. He's going to cause, as it reads, verse 16, Revelations 13 and 16. And he caused of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, say that he had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Right. So it's going to be mandatory for you to take this thing. Otherwise, you're just going to be a write-off, or they will hassle you to go and take it, or they'll just throw you in a concentration camp, because now you're rebelling against the new, the new and improved system that they say that it is. And that's going to have, again, and the reason why they'll have the right to do this, because, again, when you have this chip, you're going to have your birth certificate, you're going to have all forms of identification, medical information, important information that shows you who you are. So if you deny that implantable device, then the excuse is going to be, oh yeah, you hiding something. So now we got to take your ass out. And this is where Revelations, the 20th chapter, comes in, where you're going to be beheaded. Okay, and that's fine, because, hey, this ain't our world any doggone way. This ain't our rest. So if that's the way we got to go, then that's the way we got to go, baby. So that's all I got to say with this. I want to give all of the praises and the glory once again to Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash, and double honors to the elder apostles of the great millstone and the elder bishops as well, to include, that taught us this truth through the Holy Spirit, which is the Rakah Kodash, and even unto the elect overall, whom this gospel is for. Shalom to y'all. Shalom.